the biggest thing for me is just fast action. I would come to you and say, right, this is what my offering is. Where do I start? And you would define, go and do X, Y, Z, and do it by Friday. Been working with Soul for a good few months now. It's been tough, but we've started to get real traction, and we've just come off the back of a really solid month revenue wise, but also building a pipeline for the next few months, which is great. It felt as though everything clicked at once. People starting to understand what exactly we were doing, and the messaging and the marketing, the consistency of posting daily. I still see people commenting and liking my posts from a month or two ago, and people coming to me and saying, oh, it really resonated with me. So that consistency of posting over time has just compounded to the point where that is the highest leverage thing. We're now at a point where we've got video testimonials, we've got screenshots of testimonials, we've got people engaging with my posts and saying incredible things. There was nothing that's going to move the needle faster than fast action, and I can say from my own experiences that the foundations that working with Soul has delivered to me has been incredible. So yeah, take action, jump on it, and then as long as you do the hard yards, the infrastructure to get you there is incredible.
Well, Tommy, mate, appreciate you joining. As I knew we would be jumping on one of these calls because of all your hard work. But before we go into everything, just why don't you just give a bit of an introduction to yourself and why we're jumping on this call?
Yeah, so been working with Soul for a good few months now, and my background has been in corporate sales, which is an absolute slog, and it's the reason why we ended up speaking to Soul in the first place. So spent the last few months working on an offering using my corporate sales and recruitment background, and leveraging my mum's background as well, so in the emergency services space. And yeah, it's been tough, but we've started to get real traction, and we've just come off the back of a really solid month revenue wise, but also building a pipeline for the next few months, which is great.
Awesome. And I love that, man, because I think it's so important to not sell this dream that it's going to be super easy. Like, you yourself know that it's been a grind, right? Like, we've been going back and forth, and there are plenty of times, in Portugal and all that sort of thing, where we were like, oh, let's try and iterate on all these problems, and you've stuck through it. But firstly, let's just talk about last month. Like, how did last month go? Obviously, great revenue month. Keen to share that, but also just tell me about how that month felt versus the previous months of hard work.
It's really bizarre, because a lot of the revenue came in a period of 48 hours. It all just seemed to chunk in together. It was really strange how everything fell in, and it felt as though the hard work over previous months, and we were getting revenue in previous months, so we just weren't at the level that we were last month. So it felt as though everything clicked at once, i.e. sales dropping in at once, people starting to understand what exactly we were doing, and the messaging and the marketing, so that the foundations needed to be laid for this month to happen, and for the business to get to ultimately where it needed to be. And it was nice that it started to click, and I feel as though I now carry that energy of believing in the product and in the fact that people will buy it into everything I do, which makes the whole journey a lot easier.
I love that. What do you think have been some of the things that contributed to the big month last month?
The consistency is the hugest thing. I started working with you for a reason. Obviously, you were content led, but I had reservations as to how that would translate to LinkedIn and potentially my audience. But I now post every single day, and I know it's the highest leverage thing that I can possibly do, because the inbounds that we get off the back of that, rather than me chasing my own tail, which is what I had to do initially, and cold outreach. I think the consistency of posting daily, I still see people commenting and liking my posts from a month or two ago, and people coming to me and saying, oh, it really resonated with me. So that consistency of posting over time has just compounded to the point where that is the highest leverage thing. I still do messaging, I still need to be in the inbox, but there's people who are coming to me far warmer than they were before.
I love that, and that's so cool, because I think it's that is the hard graft at the start, is that you haven't just built that trust, right? People
Mm.
just don't have that. Whereas now you've got people that are there like, I know exactly the stuff you're putting out there. I know the value. I know the content. And so it's so nice to see that organic curve that is happening now. I guess if it like almost thinking about a few of the other things, how do you feel like one of the big things we spoke about was price, right? And like, you know, what the price was like. How do you feel like your beliefs have changed, especially with so many PIFs coming in this month?
Yeah, that was one of my main things is the price. My audience aren't the largest spenders, is my gut feeling, and there's still evidence to say that's the case, but it was a purely limiting belief from my own place that they wouldn't pay a high ticket item, because there's so many ways that they can get access to that funds. We have one person sign up whose partner's a high paid doctor, and they paid it straight away and there was no issues. So we don't know their situation, and we don't know. Again, another chap just had an inheritance from his dad, who sadly passed away. So I was being assumptive that salaries might not be great, but we also don't know their whole living situation. And in actual facts, PIFs with no questions asked has happened regularly. So it's now at the point where I feel comfortable asking for that, whereas before I might have asked for it, but I would have felt uncomfortable, and that would have come across in how I deliver it. So I genuinely don't know everyone's situation, and sometimes they're able to.
I love that phrase, PIFs with no questions asked, because like we sat in Portugal like a month and a half ago, and you're like, I just don't, because the price was even lower then. It was like, and you were like, there's just no chance anyone's going to pay. And it's just like, how do you think you've got to that point where you are getting those PIFs with no questions asked? Like, what actually has contributed to that change?
It's the posting every day has helped build me an audience and then credibility in the market. I was initially asking for cash with very little social proof. Now at the point where we've got them clients in initially, which was the hardest part. I think the first couple of clients are always going to be the hardest. And then we're now at a point where we've got video testimonials. We've got screenshots of testimonials. We've got people engaging with my posts and saying incredible things. I've got people sharing my content, making nice comments about me, and saying I'm the person to go to for X services. So all of this builds credibility. And I think the fact that in a lot of instances they've come to me, or at the very least seen this, they're taking an educated guess by working with me, as opposed to potentially a complete stab in the dark, which is what it was initially.
Yeah, no, I love that. And I think like one of the things that has been, you say about the consistency and the fact that you've built that trust, but one of my favorite things working with you, Tom, is like when you first joined the sales call, there was like no questions asked. You got in, you're like, I want to do this, paid straight away, paid me in full, which I really appreciated, and just went, I'm going to go and do this and smash it out of the park. And you've just been an operator, like constantly wanting to learn and asking for feedback. And I want to just say, like, I appreciate that so much. It's been a pleasure working with you. What do you think put you in that mindset of just wanting to go and just get it done and make this happen?
There's got to be an element of being uncomfortable, and I had a very nice life. I was in corporate sales. I had a very very comfortable life, and I could have easily gone and earned a lot of money, but I was hating every single day, and I didn't like the internal politics. So for me, it was a case of, right, what does better look like outside of work? And I saw this as the avenue to go down to change that. So I think if for me, in a situation that I wasn't enjoying, knowing and seeing that it was possible via your channels to make that leap was enough for me to pursue it and just make sure that I followed through on it, because this was the opportunity to change that.
I love it, man. I love it. And it's honestly, I mean, it's been so good. It's been a real learning for me to bring in more people like you who are just want to get things done and work and are working. What made you come in with such a can do, always looking to grow attitude, as well as also just wanting to get it done?
There's, again, it's that element of wanting to change something.
Mm.
And I for is what I was saying about social proof with my stuff. It's the same that goes on with your journey, and it's the reason why I was brought into working with you, and ultimately why it's worked out for to the point that it has, because I didn't want to carry on on the road that I was on.
Yeah.
So yeah, I took action, and it feels as though it's working out, and I'm living life on my own terms. I'm meeting a friend for coffee in a couple of hours, which I wouldn't have been able to do on a Thursday. So all of that was motivation for me to go and get it. And I knew from the fact that you'd had that journey, and obviously there'd been so many others who had a similar journey, and that the social proof was enormous for me to take. I don't say take a gamble, but I knew that if I put the work in, the foundations were there. Of course, I needed to do the work, but I knew that the infrastructure from your side would be there if I did that legwork.
I appreciate that, mate. I appreciate that. And obviously you did the legwork, which is all I can ask. So that's awesome, man. Any other, like, I feel like especially at the start, we jumped on calls pretty regularly, and we were going through quite a lot of things. Is there any other things that you felt like we moved the dial with quite a lot, that you felt like really stick in your mind, of things that you're like, oh, that actually was really useful, that we worked on and changed?
Yeah, we bounced. I mean, I came to this with a couple of different ideas. I just wanted to start something. So what I joined in my mind thinking I was going to do changed in time. The biggest thing for me is just fast action, and having someone to hold me accountable and saying, look, this is what I'm thinking of doing. And rather than that festering as an idea and researching it, and I'm not saying you shouldn't research ideas, but just taking fast action and having someone say, well, okay, Tommy, then do it. Like, start. Okay. And then what is the starting point? And that being defined clearly with action steps for the next week or so made it a far easier thing, because I would come to you and say, right, this is what my offering is. Where do I start? And you would define, go and do X, Y, Z, and do it by Friday. And that was far easier for me to digest, because starting a business, if otherwise I'm just opening my laptop and saying, all right, I'm going to start a business, and that seemed like a hell of a task that's perhaps a very difficult thing to digest. Whereas when it's broken down into do X, Y, Z, and we'll meet again on Friday, or we'll discuss it in X amount of time frame, then that is fine, because you just keep tracking along and you just keep ticking it off until the point where you're, okay, I get it. I understand where the business is heading, what I need to do. So for me, it's that accountability, the action steps, and just having someone saying, right, okay, we've got the idea. We don't need to pick it apart. We just need to get going. That was huge for me.
I appreciate that, man. And yeah, no, it's so good. And then you did the execution, which is the great part. But there's obviously so much more to go. And where do you want to take the business, mate? Where's the goal of this? And what's the life that you want for it to let you live? Because I guess the small things, like having a coffee on a Thursday afternoon, that is the reason we're doing all this stuff, right? So like, how does this play into the life aspirations you have for yourself?
100%. I work hard, and I want to continue to work hard, but it's about creating the life that I want to live. So I go to the gym for a couple of hours every day, use the spa, chill out, and mentally just kind of unwind. And that maybe takes 2.5 hours out of my day, and that's become an absolute ritual and is incredibly important to me. So I want to continue to grow it revenue wise to the point that it's a no-brainer. Everyone who's leaving emergency services should be working with me, but also to the point that I can go to the spa and go to the gym for 2.5 hours and meet a friend for coffee. So I want to make it a point that I believe in what I do. I'm passionate about what I do, and I think if everyone's coming to us, great, we can build that infrastructure. But I also want it to be the kind of business that long term, if I just want to spend the afternoon doing whatever I want to do, then that's exactly where I want to be.
I love it, mate. Well, an absolute pleasure. And if anyone was on the fence after watching this video, what's one bit of thing you'd say to them to tell them if they should get involved or not?
Get off the fence. I mean, fast action is, say it all the time, and I'm a big believer in fast action, but there was nothing that's going to move the needle faster than fast action. And I can say from my own experiences that the foundations that working with Soul has delivered to me has been incredible. So yeah, take action, jump on it, and then as long as you do the hard yards, the infrastructure to get you there is incredible.
I love that, mate. Thank you very much. Massively appreciate your time.
Thank you, mate.
Awesome.